vote.
You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how strongly you feel. Vote now. Make sure you, in fact, let people know you're a senator. I'm not going to answer the question.
Why would you answer that question?
The question is,
the radical left. Will you shut up, man? Listen, who is on your list, Joe?
Yep, we sure are an embarrassment to the rest of the world, aren't we? Yeah, what's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Prison Break Raw. I'm your host, the one and only Big JD. The presidential debate was quite a spectacle, in case you missed it. It was full of all kinds of chair throwing, guns being pulled, people throwing blows, all that shit. It was wild. Well, not really, because none of that stuff even happened. Basically, it was just about an hour and some change of arguing back and forth, interruptions. It was pretty lightweight, if you think about it, compared to what goes on in the rest of the world. You know, the rest of the world that looks at us like we're an embarrassment, the rest of the world that has so much to say about our political system and our politicians and the people that actually live here in this country, that has so much to say about it as well. They talk about how embarrassing it is to have the kind of leader that we got, Donald Trump. How the rest of the world is shaking their head and cringing at this orange giant that we have sitting in the White House. They're shaking their heads. They don't understand how we could put such a person in power. But yet I have shown you exactly what they do with their power in the rest of the world. Like I said, I always call bullshit hypocrisy no matter where it rears its ugly head. And in this case, it's the rest of the world and their political figures that they pride and put on a pedestal and talk about how great they are and how civilized they are and how much they all get along. It's like living with the Smurfs or the Munchkins, or some other group of whatever they may be, the Troll Dolls, or let's say the Cabbage Patch Kids. That's how the rest of the world markets itself and their political leaders, as that they're all civilized and they get along and they get things done. But yeah, look at what Trump does and look what our government's all about. And wow, man, how could you people vote that embarrassment into the White House? But look at how they act. Look at how they act when they disagree. They jump over the aisles and tear each other's papers apart, pull guns on each other. Dudes be smacking broads on TV. All that shit happens in their political systems because their political systems are the one that's really chaotic. Now, the one thing you have to understand about the United States, whether you like it, whether you love it, whether you hate it, whether you want to leave it, if you don't like it, you should probably leave it and go see if there's greener grass on the other side, and you will quickly learn that there is none. That's what it is in these places. Now, if their politicians act like that all the time, what do you think their prison systems look like? What do you think their streets look like? What do you think goes on in their nations? Well, you don't have to travel there to figure it out. All you have to do is just do your research, and you'll see that we've actually got it pretty good right here compared to what goes on around us. And I got to tell you that if this political system falls, if this country falls apart, the entire world will fall with it. Because the United States is the glue that keeps the whole world together. It's been that way since after World War II. It was originally a Cold War between the Soviet Union and the United States. Now, a lot of yous may not remember this, weren't paying attention to when it was going on, or weren't even born yet. But I remember this Cold War. I remember seeing that movie the day after and how it scared the shit out of everybody. It scared one family so bad that the man actually had a heart attack and died. So he won't live to see a nuclear war anyways because he died watching that movie. I mean, you watch it now and it's pretty silly, but it is still kind of scary because that could really happen. A nuclear war could happen and nobody will win. But we're at a point in time now to where a nuclear war is like the least of our worries. We would be in welcome of such an event because the kind of chaos that could actually destroy the entire world and the whole world fall apart and break down could look like something like Mad Max, where people are slowly dying in these cities of starvation and whatnot. And it's just what it is, man. I mean, it would be that bad. It'd be mass starvation, and gangs that are in these cities would be the only ones that are in control and have the guns. They would take everything, and then they would kill each other over what was left. Nothing would be available. So for a lot of people that are in these cities, I mean, I really feel sorry for you if this shit really does happen. And a lot of people are pushing to pretty much overthrow this United States government because of somebody like Trump. And it's pretty irrational if you think about it, because what you'll have is something a whole lot worse and something that you really don't want to see happen, because then it's too late. The minute this country falls apart, it is too late to fix anything else. Everything goes with it. It's not going to be that China steps in and saves the day. It's not going to be that Europe does it, that Russia does it. All anybody's going to do is fight over who controls what here. And you may have a couple of nations that will actually invade and try to occupy. It's chaos already all around us. Joe Biden telling Trump to shut up and Trump interrupting him over and over and over again in a debate. And you guys think that that is like, wow, our politics are out of control. Our politicians are a mess. That was a cringe to watch. The problem is that most people in this country are just so passive-aggressive that they're used to the bullshit that the politicians have been feeding them all this time. You know, it's like, wow, that was an uncivilized debate. Well, when is a debate ever civilized? What? When you have two politicians in front of you and they're lying to you, and then they're debating on each other's lies? That's what it's been this whole time. Politicians sitting there lying to each other and laughing about it because you're so stupid and gullible that you believe them. A lot of people believe that Barack Obama was a genuine, good president. And he may have had all the best intentions in the world when he went in there, but he couldn't deliver on anything because one man or one woman is not the sum total of the whole government. There's many moving parts in it. All they are is simply a figurehead. People put way too much stock in Donald Trump as if he is like everything that he does has a direct effect upon this country, and it does not. He simply votes in the laws that the Congress puts forth in front of him. That's the way it works. Yes, he could put out executive orders, but they really don't have any weight because all these states have to do is just say, nah, man, we're not doing it. Take, for example, his executive order for the taxes to basically defer the taxes. And a lot of people think, well, you were going to have to end up paying more at the end of the year when it was tax time, but that's not exactly what was said. What was said is that it might have been an indefinite deferment, which means you probably would never have to pay that stuff back ever. But a lot of people didn't listen to that. Now, this ain't something of an endorsement of either candidate, whether it be Trump, whether it be Biden. This is basically just telling you that when people say that this was an embarrassment, that this debate was horrible and all that, get used to it. Because this is really what it needs to be. Everybody needs to see the chaos and the division and all of that is going on within the celebrity elite power structure and all of these fist-fucking, blood-drinking weirdos that run this country. It needs to be put on full display to where everybody could see just exactly what's going on. These people that run this country with all their degrees and all their expert knowledge and their Ivy League colleges and everything that they've done, they're really no better than a shot caller on a prison yard. They're no smarter. They're no brighter. They've just been connected and pushed into the right positions. It's who you know. It's not what you know. Look at Kamala Harris, for example. She couldn't even get over 1% of the vote in the primary. How does she become the vice president? It's who you know, and it's your optics that will get you in there. It's not what you know. Same thing with a lot of these so-called experts with all their degrees and their PhDs and everything, and we have to take their word as if it's gospel. But is it really? How many times have they been wrong about everything before? Talking about this pandemic. If they'd have just shut the fucking whole country down, we wouldn't be in this mess that we're in right now. We've got it the worst because we have so many of these open arms, optical illusion people, and these people that are just so caught up in race and color and all that stuff that it would be racist to shut this whole country down. It would be racist to blame this shit on China with the coronavirus. But it's the facts. And it has nothing to do with race. You shut the country down, you don't let anybody in. That's called being smart. You know what I mean? If my neighbor is on fire and he comes running to my front door, wanting to run through my house so that he can get under my shower where there's water and put himself out, he's putting my house at risk for burning it down with his body being on fire. You think I'm going to let him in the door? I'm going to throw him a blanket and I'm going to tell him to roll around on the front lawn. I mean, that's the best I can do because I'm only going to make it worse if I let him through the door and run to the shower, potentially setting everything on fire in his path. People really need to think about these things and think about everything for what it is, right? With the government, it's never really personal. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we live in a fucked up system. Yes, there's racism. There's all these different things, but those things aren't going to go away when this election's over and Trump's gone. If you think they're going to go away, then you're gullible. But most people aren't gullible. Most people, like I said, are passive-aggressive. So they see this debate as being something foreign to them, like, wow, man, how could we stoop to such a level to have these kind of people running our government? But then take a look around. Pandemonium in Parliament is what it is in the British Parliament all the time, and that Parliament in Kenya, even in India, where they're all nice and respectful and they don't even swear, most of them. Throwing shit at each other. Over there in Turkey, a dude pulled a gun out on somebody in Jordan. Political systems are nasty. Politics are nasty. The people that are involved in them are despicable scoundrels. That's why they're there. If you have a world leader that's trying to be a nice guy and civilized and sweet and sugar and spice and everything nice, the rest of the world is going to walk all over him. So what I've been trying to say about somebody like Trump, not that I support Trump, not that I'm a Trump supporter or that I'm wearing a MAGA hat or anything like that, because me personally, I don't care, really. Who's the president? Just as long as the president is as much of a scoundrel and as vicious and as cold-blooded as the rest of the world is, because you must be in order to keep your people safe. I tell you this because it's the truth. Shut the government down, get rid of them all, have chaos in the streets, and watch what happens. This country will end up like Beirut. It'll end up like Somalia. It'll end up like so many other countries that have experienced the same thing. Are any of you ready for that? How many of you know how to support yourself without the grid? This debate, all it shows me and all it showed me was that the government is completely at each other's throats. It's been like this for a long time, but the one thing that Trump has successfully done is he has brought it to the surface things that we already knew. But you had no evidence of this. Now we do. Now you see it for what it really is. To understand that this is the kind of people that have been running us since day one, it gives you a clearer picture of what it's all about and why we need to take back the power from this out-of-control government that is slowly taking away and eroding all of our rights. One of the greatest reasons why I'm libertarian is because this government functions the way it does. I've always known this. How long have you known this? If you think any other debates are going to be any different, they're probably not. As long as somebody like Trump is there, this is what it's going to be. And he may just set a chain reaction to where more people like him rise to power. It needs to be that way. These kind of things need to be exposed for what they are. Don't look at it like, wow, man, I'm turned off from the whole political, so that was an embarrassment. Once again, take a look at the rest of the world and how their politicians act. And ask yourself, was this debate really that bad? You already know what it is. And you heard it right here. Prison Break Raw, uncut, uncensored, no holds barred, not sugarcoat, not politically correct, all up in your face, slapping you with that dick of reality. And I'm out.